we'll start. Guys, let's begin. Mona Thomas is on his way up. He said 5 minutes and he'll be up. So let's begin in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. I'm pretty sure this whole week, you guys know what the topic for today is going to be about, of course. So we're going to talk about... We're going to talk about some of the trials. Let's quiet down, please. Let's quiet down. I'm going to need everybody to focus. The people that are talking in the back, the girls that are talking in the back, I need you to focus, please. So, I've been listening to the topics that the priests have been saying the whole week, and every single priest has been talking about certain virtues that we see in Saint Mary. Tonight, we're going to talk about Saint Mary and the trials that she went through. So, I want to ask you guys something. Saint Mary, tell me very, very quickly the virtues, the things that you see in her. Humility, openness, obedience, purity, humble. One more. That's it. Love. When you look at Saint Mary, do you see her as someone she had the best life ever? She was the mother of God, right? Didn't she have the best life ever? Wasn't she the happiest person of all the women that you've ever known? No, right? What do you think? I want answers. Was she sad all the time? Was she happy all the time? Was she excited? Was she miserable? What was it? She was satisfied, okay. So. Okay. So, what we're going to talk exactly about is Saint Mary. Saint Mary, she went through a lot of tribulations. She went through a lot of trials ever since she was a child. So I need everybody to focus with me. Please, boys, girls, I need you guys to focus with me because this is going to probably go fast and it's going to be a story from the beginning all the way to the end of our life. We're going to talk about certain things, but I need you to keep focused. And we're taking some of the stories that I'm going to tell you about right now. We read the Bible. There's books written from long time ago that talk about Saint Mary and her life. So one of them, there's the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Coptic Synaxar. There's a book called The Vision of Theophilus. This is a guy that had a vision of Saint Mary, and Saint Mary appeared to him, and she told him the whole story when she was going into Egypt with Christ. And there's the Proto-Evangelium of Saint James. This is very quick. Joachim and Anna are the parents of Saint Mary, gave birth to Saint Mary gave birth to Jesus Christ. She was betrothed to Joseph. Joachim and Anna. Anna's niece was who? Elizabeth. And she was married to Zechariah the high priest. And Zechariah gave birth to Saint John, who was 6 months older than Jesus Christ. You guys are sleeping. I'm asking very simple questions and you're not focused. Okay, so very fast. Let's look up on the screen, please. Let's look up on the screen, please. Put the phones away. I feel like I'm in Sunday school again. Okay, so Joachim and Anna. So I want you to think about, Habibi, how old are you? 4? 5 years old? Okay, is there anybody here how old are you? 5 years old? Anybody younger than 5 years old here? All right, can you come with me? تعالي معايا. تعالي. All right, I want everybody to look up here. How old are you?
5.
5 years old. So this girl right here is 5 years old. I want you to think when Saint Mary was 3 years old. So you guys know Joachim and Anna, they had a very hard time having a child. They both prayed, and at a little of their old age, God gave them a child, and their child, his name was what? Joachim and Anna, they had a child, her name was? Mary. Mary was when she was young, up until 3 years old. What do you think the mom did with Mary? She loved her. She was very close to her. So 3 years old is younger than her right now. At 3 years old, what did they do? They went into the temple. Thank you. Go back. So at 3 years old, Joachim, Anna, they took Mary. They went into the temple. Joachim and Mary, they went into the temple and they took Mary with them and they gave Mary to the temple. Okay? So look over here. This is the question I want to ask. I'm going to ask you with all due respect. Right now is the time we're going to learn. We're here to learn about Saint Mary. If you can't stay quiet and learn, then go downstairs. I want all eyes up here. You're not here to be playing on your phones. I'm not coming here to lecture you on how to sit in church. All eyes up here, please. So Saint Mary, and when she was in the temple, at 3 years old, younger than this girl, the jobs that she had to do in the temple, back in the Old Testament, when the temple was used, someone made a sin, they would get a lamb or get a dove or get a certain animal. They would come and they would give it to the priest. And the priest, what he would do, he would take the animal, just like here, there's a sheep, and they would cut the throat of the sheep, and the blood, they would spray around the what? The altar. And they would take the offering, put it on the altar itself, light it up on fire as a burnt offering for the person's what? Sins. Someone kills someone, they would come and they would put an offering. So I want you, after they do the offering, and there's all blood all over the place, and they take the skin, all that stuff that's on the side. One of the jobs that were in the altar was to clean up the blood. So this right here, you can imagine Saint Mary, when she was young, they're teaching her to clean around the altar, to clean the temple, to clean outside, all the blood, all the animal hairs or whatever, she would clean it up. Other things that she did, she would also wash the vestments. So the priests, they would have blood on their vestments. She would also what? Clean it. And she prepared the veil of the temple. I feel, you know when Teta was like sitting there sewing? That's one of her jobs in the other versions. So Saint Mary wasn't in the altar by herself, by the way. She wasn't in the temple by herself. There was other virgins in there serving the temple. And of course, the serving, and the second thing is what? Prayer. At the age of 12 years old, Dad, I'm sorry. So at the age of 12, I want you to think Saint Mary is a real human being, is a person that lived just like me and you. She stood just like me and you are standing right now. She ate just like me and you eat. She had parents just like me and you have parents. But her life is a lot different. So at 12 years old, what do you guys do at 12 years old? Huh? اللي عنده telephone and sitting there with مش عارف Facebook all day long, the people that are hanging out with their friends, the people that are... I'm not saying any of this stuff is bad, by the way. I'm not here to talk about that. But I'm here saying what? You guys have friends. You guys have friends. You guys have a life. You guys have family. You guys have parents. Saint Mary at this age, between 3 years old to around 12 years old, how many years is that? 9 years old. 9 years, she's in the temple doing all these services. And at 12 years old, the priests, they come, as you can see in the picture, and they say what? Mary has to leave the temple. At a certain age, the virgins, what they would do is they would leave the temple and be betrothed. Someone would take care of them. So at this time, Mom and Baba are not here anymore. Anna and Joachim are not here. So they said what? We're going to get chosen men, religious men from the city to come and take care of Saint Mary. How do you feel what do you think Saint Mary is feeling right now? 3 years old, she's doing all this up until 12. This is the only life she knows. And then the priest say, I'm sorry, you're going to have to leave. She's sitting there the whole time, serving the altar and prayer. And all her relationship is with only one person, God and angels. You're going to see later at that time when she was in the temple that angels used to come and minister to her. They used to talk with her. So just think about how she's feeling right now. This old man comes, they choose him, the Holy Spirit chooses him, because as you guys know, the dove and the whole story of Saint Joseph. Joseph takes her. He's an old man, and as the Synaxarium tells us, he was a widow. So I guess he was a man, he was married, and his wife died. He took her, and he went into his house. What was Saint Joseph's job? Carpenter. His job was building homes. His job was building, seats, couches, getting wood, cutting it, furniture. So Joseph takes Mary. Fearing God, Joseph took her into his own possession, and he said to her, Mary, I took you from the temple of the Lord, and now I bring you into my house. I'm going out to build houses, but I will come back to you. What happens back? Thank you. She is outside, she's praying, because that's what she's used to. Joseph is not here, so she can go back to serving God. And what's the only way she can serve God? Does she have any cleaning to do? No, she's going to sit there and pray. I want you to focus on this sentence because it needs some explanation. So again, we know it's in the 6th month. Archangel Gabriel comes, and he says, greetings, you are highly favored, the Lord is with you. Verse 29. Mary was greatly troubled at his words and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. So one of the fathers, this sentence, they say what? Saint Mary is used to talking to who? Angels. Because this is what she's saying. Mary was greatly troubled at his word and wondered what kind of greeting, what kind of greeting this might be. So Saint Mary, as a daily thing with the angels, they used to come, give her food, take care of her when she was in the temple. He's coming now and he's telling her, greetings, you highly favored one. And then he says what? Do not be afraid, Mary, you have found favor with God. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you'll call him name Jesus. Okay, right now, she is what? She's a virgin. Very good. She's a virgin. She's in the house of Joseph. Are you guys with me? She's in the house of Joseph right now. She hears that she's gonna give birth to Jesus Christ. Is she happy? Of course. What do you mean no? Of course she's what? She's blessed. She feels like this is something, she's been in the altar all her life. She's hearing all these prophecies, and she's the one that's going to be the one fulfilling them. She's the one that's going to give birth to who? Jesus Christ. Now, Saint Mary is, of course, she's like praising God and she's happy. Who on the other side is like, what's going on? Joseph. Joseph comes and he's hearing that Saint Mary is pregnant. I should have shot her. Right? He's like, she's a virgin. The temple gave me her as a virgin, and now she's going to have a... People are going to say that I am the father. And but also, he's thinking what? She's a virgin, I left you at home, and I'm coming back and you have a baby? That means... So everything what? كل حاجة مقلوبة. Everyone is going... Yeah. So according to the book of Saint James, it says... I don't like all the side conversations. There's a lot of talking on the side. It says, and night overtook him, and suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Do not fear this child, for the child in her is from the Holy. She will bear a son, and you will call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. So he's giving comfort to who? Joseph. By the way, long time ago, if anybody committed adultery, what would happen? They're stoned. This girl is what, between, say, 12 and 16 years old. And this man, Saint Joseph, is very old. And they're thinking, البت هتموت. They're going to kill her. So, because, again, Saint Joseph is what? Yeah, he's an old man, and they're going to think that she committed sin. Anyway, Mary runs. At this time, Mary goes to Elizabeth. So we're talking about the trials or the tribulations of Saint Mary. At this time, does she care about herself? She cares more about the baby and others. So she lives her whole life from 3 to 12 years old serving God. And then after she gets out, she can't stop. She can't give up the service. She goes and starts serving Elizabeth. She goes back after she visits Elizabeth. She stays there for 3 months. And then while she's with Joseph, there's a decree that comes from Caesar. He says that everyone has to go get registered while she's pregnant. So this is towards the end of her days that she's pregnant. I'm sorry. And while she's going to register, she gets what? She goes into labor and she has to give birth. It's not stated in the Bible, but there's a person named Salome they were saying she's the midwife of St. Mary. So she's the one that went with St. Mary. And while St. Mary was giving birth, she was the one that would what? Help her. Again, I need someone that's like 14 years old maybe. Who's 14? 14 years old and a girl. Dad. So, let's get back on track. So you have to imagine Saint Mary is a real person, and she's at this age right now, and she's going to go and give birth at her age. Salome is with her. Do you think she's stressing? At your age, imagine you're going to stress?
Yeah.
She's probably just going to stress out. It's a stressful. People that are 30 years old are stressing about having kids. So we'll go to the next part. So Jesus Christ is born. All right, next slide. What happens according to the Bible? Please do me a favor. Keep your eyes on the screen. I don't want any eyes looking down. Everybody sit straight. Eyes on the screen. So here it says what? Matthew chapter 2. You guys all know the story. When they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, this is after who's born? Jesus Christ. Arise, take the young child and his mother, flee to Egypt and stay there until I bring you word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine this. Saint Joseph right now, he gets this message. If it was me, I would take Saint Mary, be like, Yalla, لازم نمشي, Herod جاي هيقطعنا. I would pull her and like, Yalla بسرعة. Like, everything's a story, but I want you to imagine this stuff in real life. He takes her, he puts her on the راجل عجوز بقى, puts her on the donkey, Yalla. And then they go to Egypt. Of course, you guys know the tradition. While they're going through Egypt, all the idols that were in Egypt, they all fell down and broke. There's robbers, and they're saying, like, this is old tradition, by the way. The robbers and thieves that would meet them while they're walking through the wilderness, going into Egypt. What do they call them? No, not pirates. Pirates are in the water. Huh? Mandates? Whatever, but the burglars out in the wilderness. They would come up. So it was a hard journey. How do you think Saint Mary felt? Stress. كل ده stress. What a stress. And all. She's what? Around 14, between 12 and 16. We don't know the exact age. All right. Now when she gets to Egypt, what happens? Now when Herod was dead, so Herod right now when he goes and he does actually kill all the kids, 2 years old or under, because he wanted Jesus to be what? Because he was scared that Christ was going to take his throne. So here it says, what? Now when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, arise, take the young child and his mother, arise, take the young child and his mother, go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the young child's life are dead. Then all right. Jesus grows up. Right now, they're back in Nazareth. Jesus grows up. Who is teaching Jesus at this time? Around Joseph. Joseph, what is he teaching him? Carpentry. Think. A mother that has a child, بيلعب بمسمار, what is she going to do? I want you to think about it. A mother have a child that she's playing with مسمار or playing with the hammer. The mother's going to stand there and be like, she's going to be scared. So she started worrying. She is a mother. I want you to think about this as she's a mother. The second thing that happened, when Jesus was around 12 years old, they went to Jerusalem, they went to Eid al-Fitr. And then they were returning. They left Jesus Christ where? In the temple. They left Jesus Christ behind. All right, I'm not going to continue. Carlos, stand up and sit up front, please. I'm going to wait until it's quiet. Please put your eyes on the screen, please. Keep your eyes on the screen. Jesus is left behind. If you guys ever go to the mall when you were kids and you try to sneak away and hide from mama, do you remember how she acts? Saint Mary, for 3 days, she's traveled back and she's worried because who's lost right now? Her son. She knows that this is who? Jesus Christ. But she's still what? Worried. She's a mother. Go to the next part. After Jesus Christ grows up, Saint Joseph, of course, he gets old. And who was taking care of Joseph and Saint Mary and Jesus Christ? Joseph. What was he working as? A carpenter. So after he passed away, how do you think that time of Saint Mary was? Was it hard? Of course. He's the one that took care of her after between 12 years old until he passed away. All right, this part gets sensitive. Let's focus, please. So Jesus Christ right now, after he grows up at the age of 30, he starts what? Beginning his ministry. And beginning his ministry, he starts what? He starts teaching. He starts teaching the Jews. He goes into the temples. While he's going into the temples, who is he having a lot of clashing with? The Pharisees. And the Pharisees are the people that are strong in that area at that time. Yeah, they're the ones that are basically, they're running the show. He starts saying, woe to you Pharisees, woe to you scribes, عمال يشد معاهم. Saint Mary, of course, she's standing there and she's watching him. Is he performing miracles? Yes, he's performing miracles. And she sees this from far away. She's happy from inside, but at the same time, she's scared because she knows what's coming. Again, so how old right now would Saint Mary be? If 30 years old, between 42 and 45 years old. A mama that's between 42 and 45, and she's standing on the sides every time Christ is preaching. Every time Jesus Christ is preaching, she's standing there and she's watching. She's watching everything that he's doing. After, of course, this is after 3 years, what happens? She knows the 12 disciples. She's thinking in her head, Jesus Christ, her son, her only son, the only person that's in her life right now, has 12 disciples. One of the disciples, again, this is Saint Mary getting scared because she sees all the tension going on. What do you think? Saint Mary is sitting down, and she's probably sitting with other people, like other women, and then she gets a voice. Someone comes and tells her what happened when Judas betrayed Jesus. They took Jesus. What happened with the disciples? Everyone ran. Everyone ran different places. Do you think someone ran back to Saint Mary? Of course. Someone probably ran back to where Saint Mary was, because they probably were all in one place. And Saint Mary probably once she heard that Jesus was betrayed, once she heard that the Pharisees had took Jesus, what do you think happened? How do you think she felt? She was scared. She saw the way the Pharisees are staying there angry with Jesus, fighting Jesus. So once she hears that those guys, they captured Jesus, her heart probably what? Imagine a mom. Imagine a mom hearing about her son, someone coming and hitting him and taking him. Again, all of this is, we want you to think how Saint Mary was in the trials, tribulations that she went through as a mother. And immediately while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, with a great multitude with swords and clubs, came from the chief priests. Imagine hearing this stuff about your own son. We go to the next part. What happened the next morning? They go to Pilate, and they're standing amongst all these people. Do you think Saint Mary is there right now? Guys, please think about this. Stop with the talking, because I want you guys to contemplate on it. Saint Mary is standing there and she is watching all this going on. The soldiers have Jesus Christ like this, and Saint Mary is watching. While they're بيديله قلم على وشه, that's holding him while he's bleeding. And people start saying what? Crucify him. Saint Mary is probably starting to what? Cry. Imagine بقى while Saint Mary and Jesus is walking to Golgotha. Imagine a mother watching her son holding the cross, holding a big piece of wood, walking, and he has the thorns on his head. His head is bleeding, and he's walking with the cross. Can you imagine a mother seeing her own child like that? So, I want you guys to think back. How do you think St. Mary feels at the moment? When she was in the temple, what was her job? It was taking care of the temple. It was cleaning up the blood. It was cleaning up the clothes. She did that when she was between 3 and 12 years old. Now she's doing it with her own son. She's on the floor and she's crying and she's picking up the blood of her own son. And what's clicking in her head? What was the blood that she was doing? She was cleaning up in the past. It was the blood of the sacrifice, and now it's the blood of her own son who is to be sacrificed for the world. Do you see the connection? She was cleaning up the sacrifice in the past when she was a child, and she's now cleaning up the sacrifice for the whole world when she is a grown-up. This is the part we say in the 9th hour of the Agbayah. It says, when the mother saw the lamb, let's read it together. When the mother saw the lamb, the shepherd and the savior of the world hanging on the cross, she wept and said, the world rejoices in receiving salvation, while my heart burns as I look at your crucifixion, which you are enduring for the sake of all my Son and my God. Again, think about a mother looking at her own son dying. I'm pretty sure you guys heard this before. No parent should no parent should ever bury their own child. These are the trials that Saint Mary went through in her life. I want to close out the night with something good. After Jesus Christ died, what happened? He resurrected. Jesus Christ resurrected. After he resurrected, that time between the resurrection and the day of her death, what do you think she was doing? Okay, yes, she was praying, but what else? She was happy, is she? What did she do when she was young? Okay, it's cleaning, but she was a virgin with the other virgins. There's some contemplation that Saint Mary, after Jesus Christ passed away and he rose from the dead, she went back and she raised also virgins. So she was the mother of the virgins. And when she's around 60 years old, when the time of her departure arrived, the virgins of the Mount of Olives came to her with the apostles who were still alive. And they surrounded her bed. The Lord Jesus Christ, to whom is the glory, with a host of thousands and thousands of angels came to her and comforted her and told her about the eternal joy that was prepared for her, and she rejoiced. And Saint Mary right now is on the deathbed, and she puts her hands, she stretched her hand and blessed them all, and she gave up her pure spirit in the hand of her Son and God, and he took her spirit to the heavenly mansions. You guys know Saint Thomas? St. Thomas, when he was on his way, he wasn't there when St. Mary died on the bed. So he saw a vision. He saw a vision of St. Mary going up into heaven in her body. So when he came back to the disciples, he went to the disciples and he asked them, show me St. Mary's body. So the disciples took him. They went to go see St. Mary's body, and St. Mary's body was not there. And he's like, I saw a vision. St. Mary's body was taken up into heaven with the angels. I want you to, from the very beginning of her life all the way to the end, she did a lot of trials. She went through a lot of tribulations. Everything happens. Someone remind me of the verse. All things are good.
To His holy name. All things are good to those who love God, to those who are called to His holy name.
Let's read this verse together. Consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. Stop right here. Do you think St. Mary knew, while she's doing all this stab, while she's going through all this stuff in the altar, do you think she knew that God had something prepared for her? No. She just built the relationship with God and she let God drive her life. Let's continue. And let endurance have its perfect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Under trial, for once he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love him. The last verse that we're going to go to for tonight, the world is passing away, and all the things that people want in the world are passing away. But whoever does what God wants will live forever. If we ever see tribulation in our life, if we ever see trials in our life, everything happens for a reason. No matter what. Sometimes when you guys grow up, sometimes you won't have a job and you'll be sad that you don't have a job. God will provide for it. God will give you something even better than what you want. Everything is patience. Everything is, you build a relationship with God and you put your life in God's hands and you let Him take care of it. Glory be to God forever. Amen. Let's stand up for the Tamgid. Teti Theotokos et Owab ma are ya episho
Many precious is your glory, O the pride of all the virgins. Mary, the fair dove, sina etcho enna ejviritiro, en se sho empe o epshoshoni parthenos tiru Maria techerumpi ethnes. Lord our Lord, how wonderful is your name upon all the earth. Many are all your wonders, and precious is your glory, O the pride of all the virgins. Mary, the fair dove, glory and honor to your mother, the high crown. Many are all your wonders, and precious is your glory, O the pride of all the virgins. Mary, the precious are your wonders, your happiness and joy. Many are your wonders, and precious is your glory, O the pride of all the virgins. Mary, the precious are all your wonders, and your greatness is glorified. Many are your wonders, and precious is your glory, O the pride of all the virgins. Mary, now fair dove. Ep orun tetihirini moinan, tekirini seminan, tekirini kanenovinane volgore, enigaji enteti ekekliseya, arisopteros enneskim shaine Emmanuel benotikenten mititin knep o ente befjord nembem nevmat oeb ente filmo eron tirin ente ftovo elnenit ente ftalet sho ennishon ente nefsi shinem Nensumaten oshtem mokobek Christos nembekyoten agathos nembem nevumat oem jeak ek sotiem mohel to you, O Mary, the mother of the Holy God. Hail to you, Mary, the Virgin and bride. Hail to you, Mary, the ark of grace. Hail to you, Mary, answer for believers. Hail to you, O Mary, the righteousness for sinners. Hail to you, O Mary, the light in the wilderness. Hail to you, O Mary, the pure and the virtuous. Hail to you, O Mary, the apparition beautiful and bright. Hail to you, O Mary, the divine judge's bride. Hail to you, O Mary, the dear and the precious. Hail to you, O Mary, the faithful and righteous. Hail to you, O Mary, the mighty one in war. Hail to you, O Mary, the revered treasure of the Lord. Hail to you, O Mary, the tablet of the new covenant. Hail to you, O Mary, the helper of those in want. Hail to you, Mary, the pure offspring of virtues. Hail to you, Mary, the pure temple in truth. Hail to you, Mary, the mother of God. Hail to you, Mary, the pleasure of the highest God. Hail to you, Mary, the stone of precious price. Hail to you, Mary, the flower in the paradise, the mention of your name is in all believers' mouth. They all say, O God of Virgin Mary, was O angel of this day, flying up highway with this, remember us before the Lord, that He may forgive us our sins. The sick, O Lord, heal them, those who have slept, O Lord, repose them, and all our brethren in this life. Help us, my Lord, and all of them. May God bless us and let us bless His holy name, and may His praise be always on our Jefes marot in Jeviot Nemeshin and Maeso et Teteria Ejike volten ostem Tentiones Ya Rab Osmane Ya Rab Rahmane Ya Rab Ikne Amin Alleluia Kyrie eleison.
Lord, accept our praise as we say together, Our Father, who art in heaven.